Let's talk about a scientist named Jonas Salk. His work didn't just change medicine, it kind of redefined what it means to serve humanity. And the whole story really kicks off with a single terrifying question that once kept the entire world up at night.
To really get the scale of what Salk did, you have to travel back in time with me. Just for a second, forget everything you know about modern medicine. Picture a time when summer, the season of fun and freedom for kids, was also a season of absolute dread. What was this invisible monster that parents were so afraid of? For generations, that answer was poliomyelitis, or as we all know it, polio. And it was just brutal. It was this indiscriminate disease that could take a perfectly healthy child and in a matter of days paralyze them, confining them to leg braces or wheelchairs or even the dreaded iron lung. There was no treatment, no cure, and it caused this widespread, gut-wrenching panic year after year. And this constant terror wasn't just some private family tragedy. Nope. It was a full-blown national crisis. It created this desperate international race to find a solution, any solution. The fear was so palpable, so intense, that it sparked one of the biggest public fundraising campaigns in history, called the March of Dimes. This thing mobilized millions of regular people. You had school children donating their spare change, volunteers going door to door. It was like a grassroots army, all united by one single goal: conquer polio. And out of this crucible of fear and hope, one person would emerge to take on this absolutely monumental challenge.
Jonas Salk. He was born in New York City to Jewish immigrant parents. And they themselves didn't have much formal education, but they instilled in him this powerful, powerful drive to learn and to achieve. So he wasn't born into a world of science or privilege, but into a family that valued hard work and your intellect above everything else.
And boy, did he excel. From a special prep school for gifted kids, he went on to the super competitive and tuition-free City College of New York, and then to NYU's School of Medicine. But right there, Salk made this really crucial decision. He didn't want to treat patients one by one. He wanted to be in a lab doing research.
And this quote, it just perfectly captures his whole mindset. He saw research not as some abstract thing, but as the most effective way to help the most people possible. Right from the start, his ambition was all about making a huge, large-scale impact. So, in 1947, Salk gets his own lab at the University of Pittsburgh. It was small, sure, but it was his. And this was where he got his chance to fulfill that grand ambition by taking on the polio project, funded by the very same public he wanted to serve. Now, at the time, scientists were kind of at a crossroads. There were two main ideas on how to make a vaccine. Salk chose the path he believed was safer and more reliable, using an inactivated, or killed, polio virus. This was actually a pretty controversial choice, but Salk was convinced it was the right one. The idea was simple. It couldn't actually give you the disease, but it could teach your body how to fight it off. 1.8 million. Just let that number sink in. That is the staggering number of children who took part in the 1954 field trials for his vaccine. It was the largest public health experiment in American history. These kids, they were nicknamed the polio pioneers, and they were right there on the front lines, with all of their parents' desperate hopes resting on the outcome. And then, the day came. April 12th, 1955. The results were announced. The vaccine worked. It was safe. It was effective. Church bells started ringing. People were cheering in the streets. It was this moment of just collective global relief. The monster had finally been caged. Instantly, Salk was hailed as a miracle worker, a global hero. But this newfound fame came with a very, very modern question. One that would end up defining his character and his legacy more than any scientific paper ever could. So picture this. The legendary journalist Ed Murrow is sitting across from Salk on live television. The whole world is watching. And he asks the most logical question on everyone's mind. Who owns the patent, right? Who is about to become fantastically wealthy from this discovery that every single person on Earth needs? Salk's answer was so simple, so immediate, and just so profound. He just said, well, the people, I would say. There is no patent. Could you patent the sun? And with just those few words, he cemented his legacy not just as a great scientist, but as a true humanitarian. $7 billion. That is the estimated value of the patent that he just so easily dismissed. By refusing to patent the vaccine, he made sure it would never be restricted by price or by profit motives. His goal was just maximum distribution to save as many lives as possible. Period.
But his work was not done. Not by a long shot. Conquering polio wasn't the end of his career. In fact, this incredible achievement was really just the foundation for his next chapter.
He used his fame and his influence not for personal gain, but to build this, the Salk Institute. He pictured it as a place where the world's best scientists could come together and collaborate, free from the usual constraints, a kind of modern academy for open thinking, where science and humanism could merge to tackle humanity's biggest biological questions.
And it was here, in this unique place that he created, that his scientific work started to expand into this broader worldview, something he called biophilosophy. He truly believed that by understanding our own biology and our place in the long, long story of evolution, we could better navigate our own future.
So his biophilosophy really boiled down to a few powerful ideas. First, we're a product of evolution, right? But he argued that our consciousness completely changes the game. We're not just passive subjects of evolution anymore. Our awareness makes us active participants. And because we can imagine and anticipate the future, we have this unique responsibility. His whole thing was that we now have to consciously collaborate with nature to shape our own destiny, using our intelligence and our wisdom to guide us.
Which leaves us with his powerful, enduring question. Salk's life was proof that one person's choices can absolutely shape the future for millions. He gave away the sun so that everybody else could have a brighter future. And his philosophy really challenges us to ask ourselves, what role will we play in writing the next chapter of our collective story?